Hey everyone, Jeff here from Films at Home, and today we're going to review an amazing 4K box set, and I also have an awesome giveaway for you all. Hey everyone, thanks for coming back to the channel. Today we're going to be reviewing the Universal Classic Monsters Volume 2 from their Icons of Horror collection. Now this 4K box set here includes the movies The Mummy, The Bride of Frankenstein, Phantom of the Opera, and Creature from the Black Lagoon. And because for whatever reason I was lucky enough, or somebody screwed up when they were sending them to me, I actually have 2 copies of this. So I'm going to be giving one of these away to someone who's watching this video. Stay tuned to the end of the review so you can learn how to enter the giveaway. Now in this review, I'll cover all 4 of these movies in sort of abbreviated, shorter reviews, and I'll talk about the audio and video quality, some of the special features, and then we'll cover packaging at the end. So starting with The Mummy, which is the oldest of these movies from 1932, I jumped into that first. Now, 3 out of the 4 of these are black and white, and The Mummy is a black and white movie shot on 35mm, but in the early 30s. There wasn't a whole lot of, great lighting, great technology yet, but the fact that we do have that 35mm source, and Universal smartly well over 100 years now has preserved their films pretty well, it does look fairly sharp. You'll notice that film grain is a little bit finer detailed, it's a little bit less noticeable, it's a little sharper, but the biggest thing here is really what HDR does for black and white movies specifically, and that is the added depth, mostly due to the better color and the better contrast in shadows, the blacks and the grays and the whites. HDR color mapping for these new releases can really handle that well, and that's where you're going to see the biggest improvement on The Mummy. You're just going to see a deeper picture. It has more depth. It looks, not as flat as maybe the Blu-ray made it look. It's a little bit more, not necessarily 3D, but there's more depth and there's more oomph to the picture. You can see that shadows are outlining people's faces and that you're really getting a more defined object when you're looking at the screen. So that was the biggest upgrade for me here, was the HDR, and that's going to ring true for most of these movies. Now on the audio side of things, this is a Master Audio 2.0 mono track, and that's going to be the same audio across the board on all 4 of these. I thought The Mummy was pretty good, but it's the same as what we got in the Blu-ray. It's that same restoration. So there wasn't a whole lot of a difference there between Blu-ray and 4K. The biggest difference is going to be your picture quality, and that's going to be the reason, honestly, to upgrade this entire set. Next up in the set is The Bride of Frankenstein, and moving forward a few years into 1935, the technology had progressed a little bit. I think Bride of Frankenstein might have had a little bit of a larger budget, being a sequel to one of Universal's biggest movies of all time, and that does show in the movie. It is more detailed, it is a little bit finer, the source is definitely better. Like, you're going to see a big difference between The Mummy and The Bride of Frankenstein. Not to say that The Mummy is poor, but The Bride of Frankenstein just takes the next step, and it's that much newer with that much higher a budget. So again, where I see the big difference here, it's not necessarily that, again, 35mm, this is great that we're getting it to 4K, and there is a noticeable difference in just grain structure and the way that resolves in the picture, but the biggest difference is going to be, once again, your HDR and the way that draws out shadows and contrast in those deep blacks, bright whites, and an expanded grayscale that Blu-ray and 1080p just couldn't give to you. So again, a more realistic looking image, a little bit deeper image, it's got more to it, the shadows are a little more defined, and that makes everything look better. Detail, faces, objects in the foreground and the background, everything starts to look just a little bit cleaner with HDR, giving it that almost, again, like 3D look that sometimes black and white movies lack, where they can be a little flat. HDR brings that out. Now, same on the audio with Bride of Frankenstein. I thought it was better than The Mummy, probably just a source thing as well, but you've got a 2.0 mono track, so you're not getting anything crazy here with any of these releases. As long as the dialogue is pretty clear, and it is, and they've cleaned up a lot of stuff, like there was a hiss in Dracula that was there present for many home entertainment releases that they fixed in the previous set. I don't know of any major fixes like this this here, but they've definitely fixed some of the bumps and some of the hissing and some of the, scratching that you would get on an older movie. And you can tell that these are pretty well remastered, but again, same as what we had on Blu-ray. Now, jumping ahead to 1943, we've got The Phantom of the Opera, and this is the only movie that was shot in color in this set, and it's the first Universal Classics monster movie that I've been able to view in color on 4K. Everything else has been black and white. Now, this is a Technicolor movie, and it shows. This is a beautiful disc and by far my favorite of the four. Technicolor in 4K, just with HDR too, it's just spectacular. If you look at movies like The Red Dress from Criterion or Singing in the Rain, there's so many great examples of Technicolor and where HDR like almost matches what Technicolor was doing for film back then. Like it really brings out the colors, especially your primaries, and you'll see in some of the screenshots, your reds, your greens, they really pop off the screen now. So it's a super impressive upgrade on the HDR side, one of the prettiest looking movies that I've seen, and it's also an Oscar winner for cinematography and art direction. So it is just a very beautiful movie to begin with. 4K and HDR takes it one step further. You're not going to see as big a difference in depth. You will see some finer detail here. You will see that the grain is a little bit better. It's not as big depth-wise as black and white, that 2D to almost like 3D conversion that happens with HDR. You're not going to get that. You're just going to see that your primary colors really burst off the screen, and Technicolor 4K is just amazing to look at. Same on the audio side for that one. It is, I think, of the three movies, it's the biggest audio track. It's the loudest. It's the most impressive, but it's still a 2.0 mono track. Nothing wrong with that. I can totally understand why they wouldn't upgrade it. There really isn't a need to. A lot of these older movies are going to be shot, have mono audio tracks. No reason to upgrade, but just a beautiful, beautiful picture. I think I was sleeping on The Phantom of the Opera in this set, given it may be the least well-known of the three. The other three are sort of like big Universal Monsters movies, and Phantom sort of gets pushed to the side a lot in favor of Frankenstein, Mummy, Dracula, Black Lagoon, but wow. Just incredible. Now for the last movie in the set, Creature from the Black Lagoon. We're going up to 1954, but even though it's 11 years newer than Phantom of the Opera, which was in Technicolor, this one went back to black and white. However, it is a big difference from the black and white we saw on The Mummy and Bride of Frankenstein. This is 20 years into the future from those two movies, 25 years-ish almost, or 22 years from The Mummy, and you can tell where the technology had gone, where film had gone, where camera equipment, lighting, all of that stuff. It's a night and day difference between the other two, and it presents really, really well here on 4K. Again, your HDR and your deeper black levels and better contrast and brightness, that's going to give you more depth to the picture. But I was just really impressed by how good that movie looked. And my best reference point, I would say, for this time frame as to how it looked, like it was pretty close to looking as good as Psycho, which was 1960. So even a few years, later on, probably a bigger budget given it was a big Hitchcock movie. But if you enjoyed Psycho on 4K Blu-ray with that black and white picture, Creature from the Black Lagoon is that sharp. It's at that level. It's maybe one half step below what Psycho looked like, but it's super impressive. And Universal really took great care of all of these masters and did a ton of work to remaster them, even going back and going frame by frame, remastering audio. They did so much work, and it really shows on Creature from the Black Lagoon. It's a beautiful picture, and it's one of my favorite black and white 4K discs that I now own. I will say same on the audio side. You've got that 2.0 mono track. It is DTS HD. It's not as big a track, I'd say, as the Phantom of the Opera. It doesn't have as much going on. Definitely more like effects. There's definitely more like special effects in Creature from the Black Lagoon, so some of those are fun, both visually and on the audio side. But again, as long as your dialogue is clear, and it is here, and you can clearly tell 20 years of audio equipment improvements make this a much better listening experience than The Mummy or Bride of Frankenstein. Not to say those are bad, but this is 20 years newer, and it definitely shows. It's a very good overall release. Now, the packaging here, pretty standard to what Volume 1 was. You kind of get the black and white artwork on the front, which is interesting because Phantom is actually in color. And then you get a digipack with, unfortunately, discs that slide out of a cardboard sleeve, which you guys know I don't love. but it does have all the bonus features laid out, and it has all 4 of the discs. So 4 bonus features. Most of this is ported over from previous sets. If you bought like the Mummy or the Creature from the Black Lagoon Legacy set or the big Universal Monsters set, a lot of this is ported over. But for the Mummy, you've got a few different archival interviews. You've got feature commentaries by multiple film historians. You've got the 100 Years of Universal talking about this era of film. And you've got a trailer gallery. The Bride of Frankenstein has a behind the scenes on the creating of the movie. It has archival footage again. Feature commentary with film historian Scott McQueen has another 100 Years of Universal Restoring the Classics feature in a trailer gallery. Phantom of the Opera, you've got the Opera Ghost, A Phantom Unmasked, another behind the scenes. You've got production photographs, you've got the feature commentary with Scott McQueen again, and then a 100 Years of Universal breakdown on the Universal lot, which might have been my favorite of the bunch, and then a theatrical trailer, and then Creature from the Black Lagoon. You've got Creature from the Black Lagoon in 3D. Pretty cool, only on the Blu-ray disc on this one, but it does give you the 3D option. You get Back to the Black Lagoon, which is a little bit of a set piece, sort of not necessarily behind the scenes, but revisiting things. Production photographs, another feature commentary, this time with historian Tom Weaver, 100 Years of Universal, The Lot, once again, and that trailer gallery. And included in this, you do get all the 4K discs, as well as all of those previously restored Blu-rays, if you want to go that route, or you want to lend them out to a friend who has Blu-ray. And then, like I mentioned, Creature from the Black Lagoon does have that 3D version, so that's pretty cool if you have a 3D compatible player. So overall, I love these Universal Classics Monsters movies. They're so much fun. You learn so much about like film history, horror movie history. I mean, Universal was the original horror movie studio. Universal was Blumhouse before Blumhouse was even thought of, before it was even conceived that people could do horror on the screen. So these are great movies, super important to film history and horror movie history specifically, and Universal's restorations on these is just fantastic. And I'm so happy that, we got great Blu-rays a few years back, maybe even 7-8 years back now when they did those, and I'm so happy they're bringing them to the 4K format because it just takes them to the next level. It's well worth purchasing this. But I mentioned the giveaway, so if you don't want to purchase this, here's how you can win this set free, and I'll ship it to you right from my house. I got it sitting right over here, another duplicate set. Here are the rules. Now, to enter the giveaway, of course, you have to be a subscriber, and I will check for that. So if you haven't subscribed to the channel, that's step number 1. Step number 2, you just have to simply like this video. Liking the video usually helps us get some more views, but also helps me track who's actually entered. And then number 3, I want you to just leave a comment with what your favorite Universal monster movie is. There are dozens of them out there. It doesn't have to be one from this set. I'm just really curious what your favorite is. And then in a few days, I'll say maybe by, let's say November 6th, or let's say November 6th, Sunday, November 6th of 2022, I'm going to pick a winner randomly from the comments, confirm they're a subscriber and that they've liked the video, and I'll get in contact with you and announce it on the channel and ship this thing out to you. So good luck. Again, subscribe, like the video, and just leave a comment with your favorite Universal monster movie, and you're entered to win. Now, if you don't win or you don't want to wait, you can purchase this set. I will leave a link to the Amazon listing down in the description. That helps support my channel. You can also find this at groove.com, so I'll link to that as well. And you actually get 20% off if you're a first-time customer. And they always have coupon codes running as well. So that's another place to keep an eye on for this set, because that's Universal's site. I'm sure they'll have good deals on this, better than Amazon. Either way, it supports my channel, so I appreciate it. So that is it for the review. Good luck in the giveaway. Someone's going to take home this Icons of Horror set very, very soon that I'm excited to give away to you guys. And as always, even if you're not entering the giveaway, make sure you subscribe. We're so close to 100K. Like the video, post this on Reddit, post it on Facebook, post it on Twitter, share it wherever you'd like to share it. I always appreciate that, and I would never say no. And make sure you check out all the links down in the description for ways you can support me and my channel. So thanks for watching. Have a great rest of your day. Stay safe, stay healthy out there. Good luck in the giveaway, and I'll talk to you guys soon.